So it was about 6 weeks ago or so when Representative David Maturen was involved in an auto accident. We have not spoken to him since then, and today is the first day we get that opportunity. Dave is still home recovering right now, but talking to us by phone today, Representative Dave Maturen. Good morning, Dave.
Well, good morning. Happy to be able to talk to you.
Well, you sound like the Dave we know. How you feeling?
Oh, pretty good. A little better every day. It just takes time and physical therapy, and hopefully be back on my feet. And I don't know. I guess it depends what the doctor says, but you know, maybe another 3-4 weeks. Start putting some weight on my leg, and hopefully get back to normal. Get back to a normal schedule.
Yeah. So what's the issue right now? It's your knee or the leg? I'm trying to remember what I read.
My right leg, the tibia area here got rebuilt, and it's just a matter of letting the swelling go down and do physical therapy and keep exercising the leg till I can bend it, and then strong enough to put weight on it. So, but again, doing physical therapy, once a week at this point, formally and then informally every day. So, it just takes time.
Right. The reports that we read about the incident sounds like an average situation that anybody could have gone through, where you were trying to avoid hitting another vehicle. Right.
I'm just very, very glad that I was the only person that was injured. I missed the other vehicle. Unfortunately, there was this big tree in the way, so and the tree didn't budge much. So
yeah, right.
I'm very, very fortunate. I got a lot of people to thank once I get up and around. There's lots and lots of folks to thank, from neighbors to emergency responders to the folks that took care of me in the hospital. So lots of folks that I owe a great debt of gratitude to.
You were on your way to the cereal parade, for heaven's sake.
I was, and I never made it. But apparently they had the parade without me. So.
Yes, they did.
Gone off okay. So.
It worked out okay, but I'm sure there were folks who were concerned about you at that point.
Yeah, they're probably wondering why I wasn't there. But,
yeah, right.
Anyway.
Well, glad that you're on the mend, as they say, and that you're seeing the progress of that. And how have you been handling being out of the office?
Well, I keep track. My staff obviously still mans the office in Lansing, and they take care of constituent needs and stop in, bring me my mail. I write constituent letters, and so we're able to keep things moving pretty much. And of course, right now the legislature is on a summer recess, in district work period, so they say. So there's not a lot going on. I did miss 4 days of the formal session, the last 4 days in the House, but I managed to make it for the special July 12th day. So they provided a nice little secure place for me back in the far corner of the House of Representatives, and I was able to sit back there and vote aye or nay with my hand up in the air. So it worked out pretty well. I was happy to be back, happy to be doing the work for the people and representing them. So, and
you'd had a perfect voting record prior to that, right?
I did. I did get 4 days of excuses, but it still would have been nice to not have that happen, obviously. But I made it back as soon as I possibly could. But they wouldn't let me out of the hospital. I thought there might be some votes I wanted to take, and they said, "You're not leaving." So orders are orders. So.
Yeah, right. In those situations, you follow the orders from headquarters, as my grandmother used to say. That's right. So, Dave, one of the things you've talked with us about before is the work of the Great Lakes Legislative Caucus, of which you're a part. And we've talked at length about this Army Corps of Engineers report that has been held up, which would offer some perspective on invasive species in the Great Lakes. And when last we talked about this, there was no clear idea when this information was going to be released.
Well, and there still isn't. I do represent the state of Michigan on the executive committee for the Great Lakes Legislative Caucus. That's 8 states and 2 Canadian provinces, and looking out for the health of the Great Lakes. And we sent a letter. We had 65 co-signers, quite a few from the state of Michigan, in the House and Senate, and sent that out July 11th to the President and the Director of the OMB, simply asking them to release a study. The Corps of Engineers said it was going to be ready at the end of February. Recently they found one of the Asian carp within 9 miles of the Great Lakes, and it's like, how much longer do you need to hold up a study that they took 2 years to put together?
Mm-hmm.
Said it was ready, and now it's not. And we want to know what the Corps of Engineers' plan is. I think it's critical, especially that every time you turn around, there's more DNA evidence. There's more, again, within 9 miles of Lake Michigan. I think it's time that they release the report so we understand what their plan is at this area called Brandon Lock and Dam.
Mm-hmm. And no response from the administration at all?
No, we haven't gotten a letter back from the President yet, but we'll see. Every day I look in the mail, and it's not there. But, hopefully we've added our voice to Congress. I believe that they put something in the Congress did something in the budget regarding the fact that the budget's contingent upon them releasing this. So I know there's pressure from our congressional delegation.
Right.
This just adds, state delegations and even with the imprimatur of the 2 Canadian provinces to, hey, this is a big issue. Once they get in the Great Lakes, how soon before they're in the inland lakes, and on you go, like all the other invasive species. So I just think it's critical. It's just adding our voice. We can't compel the President to do anything, but we can add our voice to other folks who are tremendously concerned about the health of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, and to maybe state the obvious, the notion is, too, that whatever's in this report that we haven't seen might have a bearing on the approach in terms of funding for the Great Lakes, federal kick-in from them one way or another.
Well, absolutely. They were, the President, first of all, zeroed out the $300 million annual federal funding that goes for match money for local units of government and states to again clean up all of the contaminated sites and improve the health of the Great Lakes. And I think Congress has put that back. But again, we'll wait and see what happens with all the negotiations. But if they need more money, if they need to do certain things, it would be nicer to know sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. Right, and no word yet on any idea what that might be or when. So we wait.
I'm sure there's lots and lots of issues at the federal level, but again, hopefully we just added our voice to that of other concerned groups in Congress, and we'll see where it goes.
We're talking with Representative Dave Maturen, who today comes to us by way of the phone line, home, recovering after that auto crash about 6 weeks ago. But there's no good timing for such a thing, but I guess being in the in-district work session now keeps you from having to worry about having to be in Lansing at this point.
Well, it saves driving up and down the roads and trying to find a ride.
Yeah,
so I'm very fortunate to have several area legislators around here who we frequently carpool with. So it was very helpful on July 12th. So anyway, it worked out pretty well.
One of the things that we'd intended to talk about sooner was the House passage of the bill allowing concealed pistol carry without a license. And that did pass, though you voted against it, right?
I did. I listened to folks on both sides of the issue, and I think they both have some merit in what their particular positions were. But I talked to the folks in law enforcement, both in Kalamazoo and Calhoun County, and sheriffs and police chiefs and prosecutors, and they said, "Why do you want to make our job any harder than what it already is?" Mm-hmm. And we constantly praise the first responders. We praise the folks in law enforcement. We hold them on a pedestal when we have meetings and all this good stuff. But when they ask us to vote against something that's going to make their job harder than what it already is in today's environment, I just felt that it was going to come down on their side of the issue, and so I voted. I was one of the few folks that did vote against it. Mm-hmm. From the Republican side, most of the Democrats voted against it. So it's a matter of it's always trying to find a balance, trying to find a sweet spot in Lansing between competing interests, and in this case, I thought that the fact that folks have to if they want to carry concealed. You can carry open. Just walk out of the gun store with it.
Yeah,
Strap it on your hip.
Right.
If you're so nobody's denying you that right. But if you want to, stick it inside your coat and walk around, I just think most folks, it doesn't hurt to take the class. It's certainly not going to make an expert marksman out of you or anything, but I think it's just some good common sense issues that come out of that class, and I think the trade-off is worth it.
So when law enforcement talked to you about it, they were mostly concerned about the idea that this complicates things when they have to sort out if somebody's carrying or not.
Yeah, it does, and it's just one more thing for them to try to think about with everything else they're supposed to be. We expect folks, either being law enforcement or folks in education, to be to be every possible thing we can think of, and expect them to be omnipotent and mind readers, and they just felt from their perspective that this was not a good trade-off. So, but the Senate hasn't taken it up yet. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is something the governor's vetoed things like this before.
Yeah.
So it may not even get anywhere when if and when it even gets out of the Senate, then it's up to the governor, and he may or may not even sign it. I have no idea, but I know that he has vetoed things somewhat in a similar fashion before.
Okay. One of the other things that's gotten some attention, and it's waiting for the governor to sign it, is this Good Jobs for Michigan package, which is meant to try and attract new business investment here and more jobs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I was happy to come back for our one-day session in July on the 12th to vote for the Good Jobs package. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to offer anybody any incentives to do anything, and simply make a level playing field of it and let the market take care of itself. But the fact of the matter is that I think the legislature, the governor's done a good job in the last couple of years of getting rid of disincentives for folks to locate businesses here. Mm-hmm. But still, other states still have things that can sweeten the pot. And when you look at, we're basically kind of unilaterally disarming, not have the ability to offer folks, especially when they're bringing in new jobs. And this whole thing is designed not to transfer jobs from Vicksburg to Marshall and say, hey, give us a tax break. These are jobs that wouldn't be located here, but for the fact that we're giving something to somebody who's creating jobs. And the whole fact of the matter is that we keep getting back to the mega tax credits and what a burden it is on the state fisc, things like that. But the fact of the matter is, people have to come in. They've got to create these jobs to begin with. Okay, and then they get to keep a portion of, or in some instances, depending upon the size of the amount of hires, the income taxes people would have paid.
Yeah.
And everybody brings up Foxconn, the potential for 5,000 jobs. I'm not going to tie the hands of the governor when he's negotiating with people. And I've listened to the folks from the business leaders from Michigan talk about all of the prospects they've had for jobs that have gone to neighboring states, simply because they couldn't come in and offer a little bit more. So I'd rather, err on the side of caution at creating jobs. And I think there are enough safeguards put in place that it's not going to be a giveaway program, that we're not going to be, saddled with the billions of dollars of still potential tax credits from the mega tax credits that both Engler and then Granholm, passed and then enhanced.
Right. So, and that is the key here. This is not that.
Exactly. But people keep bringing it up, saying, we're going back to the bad old days, and we're going to giveaways, and socialism and crony capitalism. And again, I'd love it if we could live in a perfect world. But the fact of the matter is, we don't. We've got to compete with other states, and they've always got things to sweeten the pot. Now, I mean, there's obviously a certain limit to what you're going to offer people to get jobs. Mm-hmm. But I think if they weren't, is a glass half full or half empty. Yeah. And if these jobs weren't going to occur without it, then I'm of the persuasion that we need to do that and forego some tax revenue to get the jobs that are eventually, hopefully, going to create some more synergy, some more spin-off to it. So I'm willing to forego the tax revenue. In fact, it's kind of interesting because a lot of my conservative brethren, want to restrain the growth in government. Well, here's a way the government doesn't get any money. You give it back to the employer. So you are restraining the growth of government. So it's kind of interesting. But there's always two sides to everything. But I thought it was important to give the folks that are out negotiating for major job impacts some additional tools.
All right. Well, our time has escaped, but I'm glad we had the chance to talk. And is the thought that you'll be ready to go once legislative session begins again? Yeah,
I shouldn't. I think I'm on target to do that. Hopefully, just a matter of we'll see what the doctors say and see how well I'm progressing. But just need to keep some weight off the right leg for a while. But hopefully, once I get on it, I can be back in the swing of things. All right.
Well, I hope you feel better soon, and that you are.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate the call.
All right. Thank you. We'll check in again soon. Representative Dave Maturen on 95.3 WBCK.